How's everyone doing? 9-4 more here to bring you another video. And Brandon, 20-0. First time since 2009, Jaguars score 0 points, not even a field goal. And I also want to put this out there. I feel like a clown for going to the game. Like I'm a clown for going to the game, expecting anything. I was expecting maybe like a 34-10 point game. We couldn't even score a field goal. It's just, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I bet that was very embarrassing to go down there. At least Nashville's fun. So probably had a great time. But yeah, clown is a very good like word to describe how like I feel like any Jags fan kind of feels right now going into like another stadium. Even our stadium, it's kind of like,
oh, this Sunday against the Texans, we're clowns for just even going.
well, they're clowns too. So it's a battle of the clowns. Because the Texans are being open to that. It's like, hey, we're just gonna tank. Like,
but they're scoring points. At least they're scoring more than 10 points. And we're
Davis Mills. So it's pretty sad, and I'm pretty surprised Vegas has us favored after what I've witnessed the last 2 weeks, and in the whole off-field crap that we'll get into later. I'm shocked the Jags are favored by that many points. Maybe like a half point or 1 point, sure, but 3.5 points to the Jaguars, that doesn't seem right.
No, absolutely. And when you look at the stat sheet, it is technically Trevor Lawrence's worst game on the stat sheet. When you watch the game, the first interception right off of Laviska's hand.
Yeah.
The second before halftime, I believe he was like 12 for 14 at halftime, like, won something. He was actually very good, playing really well. The drop interception off the hands of Laviska. He then tried to become hero, running out of the pocket for his life, try to throw a deep ball to Mickens, which was intercepted. And then I think the third interception was, I believe, his fault. Like he was getting pressure and just kind of threw the ball and got intercepted. But I mean, he was just playing hero ball, which I will say is a positive because he was actually kind of slinging the ball downfield a lot the game, which is something we haven't seen. If Trevor Lawrence, if that's what he wants to do for the rest of the year, I'm okay with that. If he wants to finish with 14 touchdowns and 28 picks, I'm okay with it. At least we're seeing the deep balls by Trevor Lawrence. But it's just sad it took till now to see it.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even start that with the game because the game they were just running little simple routes. He was like, I think 6 for 6 for like 40 yards or something like that close to halftime. And then they decided, okay, we got to air it out. But Treadwell showed up, Marvin Jones showed up, because guess what? That's the type of game they like to play. Like they like the one-on-one matchups downfield because they're physical guys that can attack the ball. Chanel is such a disappointment. Watching that game, like Chanel he's my biggest disappointment of the year. He has to be. I'm with you, Trevor. Let's just throw it. Who cares? Who cares if he's 30 picks, 10 or like 20 touchdowns? Let's just at least score. Like, I always feel like I'm that person who's like, whenever, like, just throw the ball down the field. You're either going to be incomplete, of interception, but it's going to be 40 yards down the field, or it's going to be pass interference, or your guy's going to catch it. 3 of those work out for you, like, pretty well. And the one that's bad is the interception, but who cares if it's 40 yards down the field and we can't score anyways? Like, that's basically, you're going to punt anyways, probably the next play. That's going to be about 40 yards. So who cares? Just air it out and let's see what's going to happen. Maybe we'll get a touchdown here or there. Maybe we'll get a pass interference and actually moves us 40, because we can't move 40 yards. So why not get a PI for 40 yards? You know what I mean? So, like, I hope we do that versus the Texans. I hope they just say, screw it. We're just going to play air raid offense and just chuck the ball around, because that's the only thing I could see this team winning, because it's bad.
No, I agree. And then James Robinson, I think he had
6 carries for 4 yards.
And that's terrible. The offense line was terrible. So I actually do want to tell you this story. So when we were getting on the airplane to come back from Nashville, we were boarding the plane, and we had a lady come up. She said, "Hey, are you guys Jags fans?" We're like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm a Carolina fan, but my stepsister, she's actually married to Andrew Norwell." I was like, "Oh, really? That's awesome." And she said, "Yeah, my stepsister said that Andrew Norwell played his worst game of the season." I was like, "Yep, he was terrible. Like, he did not play good at all." I think he had 3 or 4 penalties and allowed a sack or 2. Like, that was bad by Norwell.
I was hoping she was going to give you some breaking news, like he decided he's going to quit, or he's not ever going to come back here, because he played like it. This last 2 games completely changed my whole perception of Norwell on the offensive line. I used to be, let's bring back Cam Robinson and Norwell on a decent deal. Brandon Linder I get Linder didn't play this game, but we're going to get to the point where Linder is going to be owed $10 million and none of it's guaranteed.
He's missed like 40 games in like his 6-7 years in the league. He hasn't been healthy. And
he's good when he plays, but the old saying goes is the best ability is availability. And if you're not available, why are we paying you $10 million? So to me, I think the Jaguars, whoever this coach is, whoever it's going to be, whoever we bring in, if Urban's staying, whatever it is, completely gut the offensive line. I
I'm
don't
talking about
want
every position.
Juwan Taylor, Linder, Norwell, Cam Robinson should not be back on this team. Barch is fine. Barch is still is only on his second year of his deal. He's a rookie, not really a sophomore, but rookie deal. He's doing okay. He's not terrible.
The right guard is also the least important position on the offensive line. So it's,
so he's fine there. Shatley, sign him back to be your center. I feel like he's fine. He'll be cheap for whatever it is. And then we need to go out there and get like Armstead from the Saints. He's going to be available. They're not going to be able to pay him in the Saints. Saints are cap ridden, like from what I remember last time looking at it. The Saints have like basically no cap space. So to me, that's the guy I'd be going out for. Number one, I would pay him whatever he wants to get paid, because that's where I would start, is actually protecting Trevor, because he has had no time the last couple of weeks. Like the offensive line's been trash.
Yeah, and then Walker Little, I would like to see. I mean, you bench
play him.
Urban talks about he thought about benching Trevor Lawrence and Andrew Norwell, but you're not going to bench Juwan Taylor, who's false starts every time, who actually finally got called for a false start this game.
Right. And that was a play everybody false started. I think that was actually like on Shatley for not having the right kick. It looked like everybody false started on that play.
And then you have Juwan Taylor, who gets beat all the time. I mean, he is just a terrible player. I don't even want him as my backup. Walker Little, I think, should be getting time at right tackle to see what you have at Walker Little. But I don't know with this coaching staff. I mean, it seems like they don't want to play their guys, especially, Andrew Cisco, who forced the fumble on the kickoff and then doesn't play a single defensive snap. It's mind-blowing to me.
Unless you're in Urban Meyer's world, then he played a lot during this game, apparently. That's what Urban thinks. So we got to play our guys, man. I want to see Jordan Smith out there. I want to see Little. I want to see Cisco. I want to see J2 Fail. I get some of them were kind of like beat up.
I want to see more Luke Farrell too.
But now they're all healthy. From what I understand, I remember, who was it? I think it was Joe Cullen. Someone asked him before this game, when will Jordan Smith be ready? And he said, I'm telling him to be ready at the snap of my fingers. So he's ready to go. If the defensive coordinator has said, when I snap my fingers, you better go in that game, that means he's healthy. So I want to see what he's got. I'm not expecting a ton, but he's like 6'7", like 250. Like the dude went to Florida, had a pretty good, I think, his first 2 years, and had like a credit card scandal or something like that. And played at UAB and blew every opponent out at UAB from what I understand. He had like 13 sacks or something like that. I think it was double digits. I want to see him instead of Chason out there. Chason should not play anymore. He's one of those players that is like completely, I've lost all hope in him being good. So we need to see him out there, Walker Little instead of Taylor and Cisco instead of Wingard, like immediately.
Yeah, and then Chason, they don't know what to do with him when it comes to pass rush, and they've been dropping him coverage more, and that's not working either. Nope. It's not good. I guess I would say the one positive for the game. I mean, that's just like, I'm trying to be somewhat positive. I thought this was, when it comes to a stat point, the pass rush's best game. I think they had 4 or 5 sacks.
Yep.
Jahad Ward got his first sack, but Dewan Smoot played a phenomenal game. Dewan Smoot, I mean, is it crazy to say he might have been playing this season better than Josh Allen? I mean, possibly. When it comes
maybe
to
statistically they might be similar, but I think like if you actually look, because I think Josh Allen's getting double teamed quite frequently. Yeah, he's going up against the best guys. Smoot's going up against the other guys, but statistically, I think they're having a pretty even season so far, like sacks wise and tackles wise.
Yeah, but Smoot definitely had a good game. But other than that, I guess Damian Wilson had a good game. He had that sack and a nice, stop behind the line. But other than that, their defense, I mean, for allowing 20 points against Tennessee, even though they didn't have, Derrick Henry or A.J. Brown, still 20 points. I think they scored 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals.
2 field goals.
You think that's enough to actually win a game in the NFL?
Yeah.
And your team scores 0 points then.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the Titans stat line, I mean, Ryan Tannehill was only 20 of 30 for 191 yards. Their starting guy, Foreman, 13 carries, 47 yards. Their leading pass catcher was Jeff Swain, 3 catches for 45 yards.
Former Jag.
Former Jag. Julio Jones was only 4 for 33. So this defense, maybe not the first drive. The first drive, the Jags defense got worked. Like it was just, they just went down just like the Falcons game. Very first possession, just went down the field little by little and completely there was no big plays, but they just kept moving the ball. There was no backwards movement by the Tennessee Titans. But we started changing and we started getting sacks. We started actually playing defense, and that I thought Tannehill was going to get killed by Wilson. When he came off that edge and there was no one there blocking him and Wilson got that clean shot on him, that was like Tannehill came up. You can see he was like, oh, that was not a fun one. So the defense is not the issue at all. I feel like
this is an average defense, even though they're ranked pretty low. But from what the past beginning of the year to now, they're an average defense. Which in the league, if you can just have a competent offense and average defense, you're going to win some football games.
Well, if you're looking, the Jags only had 9 first downs on offense. Yeah. 9 first downs with 5 punts and 4 interceptions. So you're telling me that basically the Tennessee Titans got the ball 4 extra because they also punted the ball. So that's 4 extra times. They had 36, almost 30, basically 37 minutes of time of possession while we had 23. And to only allow them at home to score 20 points, like I still feel like the defense is playing above average. I just feel like if the offense was even just remotely competent and able to stay on the field, this defense would actually have pretty decent stats, like I think around the NFL. It's just they're not getting off. The offense is not staying on the field. That's the main issue. And the other one criticism of this defense, they don't get turnovers. We don't get turnovers. Like it's very, I don't even know how many turnovers we've had. Like
we have 5 interceptions and I think 2 fumble recoveries. So we have 7, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, probably was it like minus 20 of the year for turnovers or whatever it is, probably, if you add it all.
And what's crazy is that we still don't even have the least amount of interception. I'm trying to think who has less than us. I think
I could imagine the Texans.
I think it was last week the Ravens only had 5 interceptions with us,
which is surprising considering their defense. But
yeah,
it's just, I feel like the defense is set. I really like Joe Cullen. This offense could do anything, man. I think we could have been at least a 6-win team. I feel like we could have won a couple of those games that we let slip by. And it's just, this offense is just so bad. It's like Bevel should not return. Even if Meyer stays, like for all
the offensive staff needs to go.
But yeah, the entire offense. And I think Urban's kind of mentioning that, like during his press conference he was just praising the defense, calling like the cornerback coach, he gave him like, I don't remember his name, but the DB coach was just praising him because Shaq Griffin is like taking time out of practice to teach Tyson Campbell. And Rudy Ford's also in there as well with Shaq. And he goes, you just don't see that's the coaches instilling that on the players, and talking about like the D-line coach and Joe Collins getting the team. And then when he asked about the offense, he basically said, yeah, it doesn't exist on the offense. There's no camaraderie. There's no like coaches coaching people. He's basically what he seems like. So I think Urban's not happy at all with Bevel and anybody on the offense. So I think if we do see a change, I think that's the only change we're going to see, to be honest.
Yeah. I still want Urban on. I think every Jags fan wants Urban on. Like it's just when the media attention, and we know it's true, Urban's going to keep lying. Yeah, I think that's where Shad Khan is finally starting to, potentially start seeing the bigger picture, maybe, hopefully. We're hoping. And I mean, he's a billionaire. Just take the cut and just, if you got to pay the man, pay the man. You got to do what's better for the franchise, what's better for the team. And what you're doing is you're choosing between Trevor Lawrence or Urban Meyer, your franchise quarterback who can really, bring you up to the next level, or Urban Meyer. That's where you're choosing between.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, I really don't think Urban's a terrible coach. It's just I feel like he's mailed it in. I feel like he may look pissed on the sidelines and things like that. When you see him in the press conference, he doesn't seem that pissed off. He doesn't seem that worried. He
defeated. He sort of looks
defeated. Exactly. It doesn't look like there's any fire in him. You don't hear own it anymore. You don't hear +2 mentality. You don't hear any of that anymore. It's just, yeah, we got to do better, or I don't know, or he just blatantly lies. And it's just, his press conferences are terrible. And I think that's one reason we're getting a lot of media scrutiny is his press conferences and how he's dealing with the players and the questions he's being asked by the reporter, who I give all the Jags local reporters, they're doing a great job. They're really grilling him because he's not either answering them, he's either lying to them, or he just says, I don't know. So
No, yeah, I agree.
it's like I think he doesn't care. I think he got the check. I think he thought this is going to be easy. I'll let the coordinators do everything. And I'll just sit here. And if we win, I look like a genius. If we lose, I just blame the guys underneath me. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's completely blaming Bevel and not taking any ownership at all as a head coach. He's just going, ask the running back coach, ask Bevel. I don't micromanage. There are the reasons, but then it comes out reports saying he's actually the one doing it. And they're not letting the running back coach have availability to the media because his only two options either contradict the coach or he has to lie on national television, pretty much. So, that's going to get broadcast with the whole James Robinson thing and the national media now. If the running back goes out there and he says, I'm benching James Robinson, he's not going to have a job anymore after this season. No coaching staff is going to hire a guy who's benching James Robinson for Carlos Hyde as a running back coach. Not going to happen. He'll have to go down to college or high school probably. So he's in a terrible situation here. And Urban put him there. Urban's the one that said, go ask him. And then they don't make him available. So he's just putting all this staff on a bus, calling them losers. And that's where I have the problem with Urban. We knew this was not going to be a winning year. We were 1 win last year. We have 2 this year. We technically doubled already. And we got the Texans and the Jets coming up. We could win 4 games this year. That's at least somewhat realistic, but it's the fact that these press conferences are, and the way he says things is just terrible. It's not proper for an NFL coach how he's talking.
No, absolutely. He's putting the blame on his coach underneath him. And if he wants to take accountability, guess what? He probably should have fired them by now if he wants to show that he's an actual coach, but it's not happening. We got that 1 extra win. We doubled what we had last year, but I truly believe, last year, we had 6 or 7 games where they're 1-score games. I truly believe last year's team would beat this year's team by a decent margin. But I think it would probably be like a 30-10 game. I really do.
Yeah. And last year's team was injured too. It wasn't like you can say all the injuries this year. Last year's team was just as injured, if not more. So when you look at this, it's like, it's not a player thing. It's a coaching thing. It's definitely like the coaches, I feel like, are not showing up.
No, absolutely. The coaches have put the players in bad position.
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing like who they're supposed to be, especially, when you're a Lutheran team, you play your rookies to see what you have. And if you don't play your rookies next year, you're going to play them for the first time, and they're going to play like rookies.
Yep.
They're not going to learn because, you can watch film, you can go to practice, but the only way you're going to get better is by playing. It's just how it is, because practice and film are from playing are totally different.
Look at Tyson Campbell, man. He's the best example. He sucked his first couple games. And now he's being considered, we're going to be like, oh, we're going to be all right at corner. Corner is not an issue for us anymore, all because he played. Let's see Andre Sisco out there. Why are we seeing Wingard? Wingard is not making game-changing plays. He's causing penalties. He's letting guys go right by him. That Cooper Kupp one against the Rams where we lined up Wingard with Cooper Kupp, it was just asking for, I think even Kupp broke it down after the game. He was just between me and the safety, and all I had to do was beat him, pre-snap reading it. And it's we don't have guys like that. I feel like that just pre-snap read it, see what's going to happen, and go out and do it. Instead, we have guys running into each other 10 yards down the field. And stuff like that is just that's why we're not winning. And that comes down to coaching. All these stupid little mistakes that the players make, all of the pre-snap penalties and all that crap, that's all coaching. That's not a player. And we're the laughing stock at that right now. I feel like we're the worst at that NFL wise.
Yeah, we're undisciplined. We get penalized a lot. If we go to a game, we don't get penalized more than 5 times, I'll be shocked. That's what it is. But when we look at the future of the Jaguars, say they do move on from Urban Meyer, hopefully, bring in an offensive guy. I think we're both in agreement that we need an offensive guy or a former coach.
Mm-hmm.
My top 3, Kellen Moore, Byron Leftwich, and Doug Peterson, with maybe maybe someone that's like a former NFL coach, like maybe Vance Joseph, or
Yeah.
he's not good with Cardinals, or even what's the defense coordinator from the Bucks?
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles has done really well. And he actually did
I
good with the
would.
Jets. He had like 10 wins, and then the following year won like 7, then got fired. So I mean,
Yep.
those are guys that I'm interested in.
Dan Quinn's another name on that. Like I
Yeah.
get that we maybe, like I said, defense, we may need offensive guys, but Dan Quinn has completely changed that Cowboys defense. I get Micah Parsons having a career year. Trayvon Diggs is having a career year, but they're having career years and they're very young, very, very young because Dan Quinn's there. Like he's the reason that they're getting better every single week to the Cowboys defense. And that defense was terrible last year, absolutely terrible. And he comes in as defensive coordinator, and all of a sudden they're one of the best defenses, turnover wise and everything like that wise. And it's because they changed coaches. They found a guy who knows what he's doing. Now, Dan Quinn may be just a good defensive coordinator. We see that with Gus Bradley. Like Gus Bradley is a good defensive coordinator. It's not a good head coach. We may see that with Dan Quinn, but I really think Dan Quinn got a really rough end as the Falcons.
And he
Where
did good. He
like,
brought him to Super Bowl. We got him a few playoff games. I mean, but the
when they
last
were
few years,
terrible, he still kept them into the game. And it's just, I wouldn't hate it if we brought him in. But I agree, my top three are the same as yours: Brian Leftwich, Kellen Moore, Doug Peterson. I feel like those three would do well here. They're all offensive minded. I've been getting on the bandwagon. I've been seeing on Twitter as well. Let's just bring all Jags players back and be the coaches. Byron Leftwich, Keenan McCardell, who else? Jimmy Smith wants to be. It's actually known. If you follow Jimmy Smith on Twitter, Jimmy Smith wants to work for the Jaguars. He is basically saying, hire me as a wide receiver coach tomorrow and I will show up. And I think
the quarterback coach for the Lions.
Right. And so why not just bring Mark Brunell as a QB coach, Jimmy Smith as wide receiver coach, Keenan Markell. Oh God, I can't say his name right now. Now I can't say it. Cardell. I don't know why I get stuck in that. It's like a list or whatever. Bring him as the offense coordinator, Byron Leftwich as the head coach. You will not see a group of coaches who are former players fight harder to make this team successful.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of on board with it. I think the Jags fan base is all on board with it too. All those guys are qualified for those positions. We're not saying bring Jimmy Smith as the head coach. You know what I mean? It's like, we're just saying wide receiver coach. These guys will work their asses off, I feel like, to make Jacksonville relevant again, like it was when they played. And they'll be player-friendly coaches. If we get Brian Leftwich, we can get Chris Godwin to come in. Like, I did hear there's a report that they're going to franchise tag him if he doesn't come back. So he may be off the market, but just those guys, I feel like, can bring guys in. I'm really worried Urban's not going to be able to bring anybody in here. Money talks, but at the same time, with all this negative stuff and you're going to be losing, it may be like, oh, I'm going to take a $5 million pay cut to not go to Jacksonville.
No, 100%. That's what I think everyone's afraid of. And then when you're looking at coaches like Doug Peterson, he did pretty well with the Eagles, as you know, you're an Eagles fan as well. He just never had control over his team, more likely. But
that was the main issue.
He would have control over his team, and I think that's where he would succeed at.
Yeah, and he did really well with Carson. He made Carson Wentz into MVP level caliber player. He's not that anymore. And to me, that shows Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, people. Like, and that Eagles team wasn't loaded. Like, there were some good players here and there, but that team was not loaded. By no means should they really have even been in the Super Bowl, I feel like. But his offense was so well run. The team was well run. The only reason he got canned was because they had one bad year with Carson Wentz getting hurt, and they drafted Jalen Hurts. And the GM and the owner wanted Hurts. He wanted Carson. And the GM and the owner said, nope, we're sticking with our guy. If you don't like him, get out. And Doug left. That's kind of the guy I want there. He's going to fight for his guy. And he's going to be like, if it's not what I want, and the owner and the GM, whatever, I'm out. And I think he would come here, he would easily be the top guy. There would be, Shad Khan would let him do what he wants. There would be no GM that we would hire that I feel like would be able to tell him what to do, like how he does in Philadelphia. And Doug would be able to have his team. And I don't think that's a bad thing for Doug to build a team up, because he did well with the Eagles and did it, and they won a
No,
Super.
absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. I think he would be a great fit here in Jacksonville. We just got to hope Meyer gets candidate any year, or if he even loses to the Texans. There was that one report from NFL.com saying that if he loses to the Texans this weekend, there is a decent chance he's going to get fired. And if that is somewhat true, I don't want to root for my team to lose, but I would hope that the Texans just go ahead and rout us like 40-7.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be a tough game when we go there, man. It's like you never want to root for a
No,
loss.
I'm still going to root for the Jags, but it's going to be like when they Texas score back, okay, whatever.
I kind of hope it's the opposite. I kind of hope somehow our defense, like just something unfortunate happens and the Texans win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, like I want Trevor just to ball out. I want some kind of good news from this team, but at the same time, bad news that we lost. You know, like have it be like a coach. I hope it's like Urban Meyer mishandled the use of the timeouts or, whatever. And that's how we lose. Like, I just hope it's something like that. So that way it's just like we lost because of Urban, or we lost because we did a really stupid play call like we always do. And we were right there in it and we lost again to the freaking Texans. Like, I hope that's how the game goes. But I hope Trevor and James Robinson actually have a field day at the same time. It's very picky, but that's where we're at right now. If you want that to happen, that's the only way it's going to happen. You can't have both.
No, I agree. I kind of wish for your Jags were in the playoff hunt because, I mean, you're looking at the AFC and NFC right now. I mean, especially for the AFC, there's a lot of teams that's fighting for those wild card spots. I mean, you're looking at the Bills they got the Panthers, the Patriots, the Falcons, and the Jets. They'll probably win the Falcons and Jets. If they lose these next two games and other teams win, there's a possibility they might not even make the playoffs.
And I don't think they should. How they've been playing, Josh Allen is playing like an MVP. He is. He's carrying that team on his back. Like his back is like he's going to grow a really, really big back from how much weight he's lifting for that team. I don't understand why they don't run the ball. Singletary and Zach Moss can't be that bad. But it reminds me of the Jags. We refuse to run the ball. They refuse to run the ball. Just they have better players around them. They have Diggs. They have Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox, and Josh Allen. So I think if they were at the same level, they would look exactly like the Jaguars with a 2-11 record. They just have Josh Allen, Diggs, and those kind of players. So it's very much like I don't think they deserve to be in the playoffs. I think they're off, and that's a big thing. I think their offensive coordinator, who we almost brought in as a head coach, and I think he's doing a terrible job. Like, I think the way he's calling this offense, where he basically refuses to run the ball, is an absolute joke in this NFL season. That you're telling me you're not going to run the ball at all. Then you're setting up every team knows what to do. Just copy and paste. Do what the Jaguars did. Do what the Dolphins did, and just go about your day. And you're going to be able to stop the Bills pretty frequently because you don't have to worry about play action, nothing. It's just they're going to throw the ball.
No, absolutely. And obviously they don't have they don't think Singletary or Moss can do anything, and that's their fault. They should have drafted Williams. He went to the Broncos, wasn't playing well. If they wanted a running back, they more likely were going to draft ETN if he felt it to us. But obviously, we got him. So why don't you go and get the third best running back in the draft in Williams? And he didn't do that.
Right.
So that's their fault for not getting the running back and not running the ball. That's on them. I mean, the AFC is tough. I mean, it's going to come down to week 18 for probably one or two teams. Probably from those, that 6 and 7 wildcard spots going to come down to week 18.
Yep.
You look at the NFC, it's getting pretty close as well. The NFC is going to come down to probably week 18 for a 6th and 7th seed. I mean, I think it's just so crazy of how many teams are still in it this late in the season. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Was it only? Are the Texans officially out?
Yeah, Texans, Jags, Lions. That's the only teams that's been
those
eliminated.
4 teams. And it's like and then there's some kind of record of like last time that no team has clinched the playoff berth by this, like, was it week 14 we're in now?
We're about to go to week 15. No one's clinched a playoff berth yet.
Yeah, week 15, no one's clinched. It's the first time it's happened since like 2014. And then same with every team has 3 losses or more, which is by going into week 15 is also like a record. There's always one team that only has like 1 undefeated or 2 losses. So this year is very wide open. I'm excited. That means we're going to get some good playoff football, hopefully get some upsets. That's what we all like to see in the playoffs. You never want all the favorites to go out there and win, especially for Brady. greatest of all time, but man, I'm done seeing him in the Super Bowl, man. I'm done seeing
No,
him.
absolutely.
I'm done seeing him in February. Like, let me see Kyler Murray versus Patrick Mahomes, or let me see Kyler Murray versus like Lamar Jackson, or let's see the Bengals be a new team in there. Good for
Exactly. Bengals or
Denver.
Chargers versus the Cardinals. I'm all for that.
Yeah, like I want to see some new faces out there, new teams. I'm tired of seeing Belichick, tired of seeing Brady, tired of seeing Aaron Rodgers. Like, I mean, Aaron Rodgers doesn't win, but they got a very good shot this year. I think the Packers are a team to watch out
Defensively,
for.
they're playing really well too as well now.
Yeah, and this might be the last year for them. Adams and Rodgers did the whole last dance thing before the year. They're still, I'm pretty sure, holding on to that they're going to leave, with reports of Rodgers either going to the Broncos or the Steelers. Pretty sure Adams is going to want to get paid, which Jacksonville can do it. It says, can we bring him in? I don't know if we can bring him in. Even if we offered him $30 million a year, I don't know if he's coming here. But
No, absolutely.
they got some good. It's going to be a good NFL. January and February is going to be good for the NFL. I feel like it's going to be really good.
I feel like it's starting. Everything's lining up for a Brady versus Belichick Super Bowl. That's what I just had that feeling.
I know, and I hate it, but I love it. That's the only time I would like to see it. Let's just do a last hurrah Super Bowl, Belichick and Brady. But if it's not that, then I want new faces. That's like, I don't want to see Brady versus Justin Herbert and the Chargers. We all know Brady and Bruce Arians is going to win that probably. Like, let's be real here. Just like we saw it with Patrick Mahomes and them, is like, you just, once you get Brady into this in the playoffs and he has a good, healthy team and he's going against younger guys, he kills them. Like, he absolutely kills them. And Patrick Mahomes' experience and Justin Herbert isn't. It may be a bloodbath. We were saying with Joe Burrow, like somehow the Bengals could sneak in there. They're actually playing pretty decent. Lamar Jackson and the Browns and the Ravens, they look trash to me. They're like those teams that are just going to get in there, but they're going to get immediately kicked out. The Titans, I don't see winning it, even when they bring Henry back. There's no way he's going to be 100% healthy. So it's just like, you may be right. This may just be a Bucks and Patriots Super Bowl. And that's how we end the legacy between Brady and Belichick.
Hey, we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting playoff run. But other than that, thank you all for joining in and watching another video by 904 More. Follow us on Twitter at 904 More, and go Jags.
Go Jags.